Well, right now we're going to bring you an exclusive interview with the British Finance Minister, who seems to be all for Indo-British relations under the Modi government. They say that under Modi, India is firing on all cylinders, and they hope that the hugely damaging retrospective tax law is countered. Take a look.
Britain is wooing India, and two top government functionaries are here. It's such a pleasure to have with us British Chancellor George Osborne. Thanks so much, Chancellor, for speaking to us.
Thanks for inviting me on.
Let me start by getting a sense on how India's image has changed after the new government, the Modi government, has come to power.
Well, there's a real buzz and excitement in Britain as well as in India about the new government, about Prime Minister Modi, about his ambitious plans to create jobs and prosperity in India. And I think, to borrow one of the Prime Minister's phrases, good days are coming, Achhe din, for the Britain and India relationship. I think we can do more business together, more trade and investment together to create jobs, not just in India, but in Britain as well.
All right, Achhe din here for Indo-UK relations. Let me first actually try and touch upon the not-so-Achhe din, the not-so-good times, and clearly the Vodafone tax dispute, the retrospective amendments that have clearly been a big irritant in the economic relations between the two countries. You're going to be meeting Prime Minister Modi as well as Finance Minister Jaitley. Among the wish list that you've come with here, scrapping the retrospective amendments, does that come in your wish list?
Well, I've raised this before with the previous Indian government, and I said that it would send out a very bad signal to the rest of the world, not just to Britain, but to investors all over the world who want to come and do business in India. And sadly, I think that's what happened, and
right.
The previous government, I think, saw that. Now, I'm not going to write Mr. Jaitley's budget for him. He's got a big task ahead of him this week.
And it's just 2 days away.
And I don't presume to tell any other country how to manage their tax affairs. But I think it's important that the very exciting future that the Prime Minister has mapped out for India is followed up, and I've got every confidence that it will be.
So you're saying the retrospective tax amendments, particularly referring to the Vodafone tax dispute, is something that dented India's image as a favourable investment destination? I
don't think it helped. I think a lot of investors around the world looked at it and said, well, maybe this isn't such a favourable climate for investment. And I think that's one of the things that contributed in the couple of years leading up to the election to a sense that maybe the Indian economy was not firing on all cylinders. What's so exciting, therefore, about the last 7 weeks is that there's a real sense of the Indian economy firing up. And that's so important, not just for Indians, not just for the British Indian community of many economic links with India, but actually for the whole of Britain and for the whole of the world, because you're such an important part of the world economy. And so I think that's, I took the decision to get on the plane with the Foreign Secretary,
right,
William Hague, come and see the new government as quickly as possible.
The new government seen as very reform-oriented, Prime Minister Modi seen as very reform-oriented. At the same time, we've got issues with regard to multi-brand retail. UK retailer Tesco has outlined its plans to invest in India. Are there concerns that this government will clearly reverse the policy? They've made their stand clear. They're not interested in opening up the multi-brand retail sector. They want to reverse the previous government's policy. Well,
let's see what the new government does, and let's wait for the budget. What I hear from Prime Minister Modi, looking at his speeches, what I hear from Finance Minister Jaitley is that they want more investment in India. They want British companies to come here, create jobs here. We've got some great British success stories here, like JCB, Diageo has just done an enormous deal here in India. Right. And of course, we also want Indian companies in Britain, not just Tata. Mahindra have announced this week they're going to do more research in Britain, and Cipla, the pharmaceutical company, doing more business. So, look, I don't think I want to sort of pick on specific issues. I think the general atmosphere is very positive. And I think we can follow that through now in the specific trade deals, the specific investment deals.
Right, but French retailer Carrefour has already decided to exit India. Tesco may go that way as well. Do you think it would be a mistake if India decides to reverse its policy on multi-brand retail?
Well, look, I'm not going to presume to second-guess the decisions of the new government. What I want India to do is to use its full potential. And I've got every confidence that this new government has really ambitious plans to do that. And I'm a finance minister, and I've been driving around Mumbai and now Delhi, and you see these posters up everywhere about the budget coming and the TV coverage of the budget. Right. And there's a lot of pressure on the finance minister. But I've spoken to him before, I've met him before, Mr. Jaitley. I think he can handle that. I think he's got a great program of reform. He's got his Prime Minister standing alongside him. And the rest of the world is really urging India forward. And as the British Finance Minister, I want Britain to stand alongside India on this important journey.
Absolutely. And part of that pressure is to make sure that India is seen as a favourable investment destination. Defence and infrastructure, again, two areas where there is hope for a lot of cooperation between Britain and India. Are you still going ahead and pushing through some of those big defence deals, the Eurofighter jet deal? Is there hope still for that deal? Are you going to push that, talk about it in your meetings with the top government functionaries? Well,
the previous Indian government made a decision. They chose their preferred partner, right, the French Rafale jets. And if the current Indian government wants to change their position on that, of course we will talk to them. But I'm here to talk about future deals. In fact, we've had a very good defence deal announced just in the last couple of days with the Indian Air Force, MBDA. Defence is a very good example of where we can cooperate together. And in fact, one of the things we're announcing today, the British government is announcing, is a big new £1 billion export finance line of credit for British companies that want to come and do business in India, and for infrastructure projects that have some British content. And I've just been to the New Delhi airport development to see British engineering expertise helping India develop the infrastructure of tomorrow.
So if there are just three things that you would want the Indian government to do, what is it that you would like to highlight as some of those three things? Opening up specific sectors that you would want to focus on, or larger policy issues, stability in tax policies?
Well, look, I think the challenges for India are very similar to the challenges for Britain, and I think the Indian government has spoken of it. First, of course, you've got to make sure your public finances are stable. That's something we took on in Britain, and we've turned that around, and our deficit has come down.
Right.
Second, of course, you need to be able to finance your expanding economy. We've had to sort out banks in Britain. I think there's real possibilities for Indian banks going forward to do more business, to finance Indian infrastructure and Indian exports. And third, you want to be doing more trade. And I think there's the potential for an India-EU free trade agreement, or trade and investment deal, as you would speak of it here. And Britain, as a member of the European Union, who attracts more investment from India than the rest of Europe put together, and intends to go on doing so, is a big advocate of that deal. So there will be three things that I'm sure are on the Prime Minister's plate.
All right, and of course we've got the big announcement during your visit, Mahatma Gandhi statue at London's Parliament Square. Tell us more about that.
Well, Mahatma Gandhi is not just an inspiration to Indians and British Indians, he's an inspiration to the whole world. And this father of the world's largest democracy, I think, should take his rightful place in the square outside the mother of parliaments, the House of Commons. And I think it will be not only a tribute to a truly inspirational person, but also a memorial to the Britain-India relationship.
Thanks so much, Chancellor, for talking to us.
Thank you.